And I know that when we take a look at Colossal Cave, later updates had it so that you could play the female protagonist known as Lady, where a lot of people credit it as one of the very first female heroines in adventure gaming. And I kind of want to talk about another amazing female heroine, which is a character you created with Laura Bow in The Colonel's Bequest. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of The Colonel's Bequest here. I played the Dagger of Amun-Ra, which was amazing. And I was curious, Laura Bow being one of the first strong female protagonists, she really broke a lot of new ground in an industry where those type of characters were rare. I was wondering if you could maybe share the process of creating Laura, what your intentions were with her as a character, and even how you approached designing her role in the story to ensure that she resonated not just with players, but she felt authentic and innovative.
Well, I've always liked murder mysteries and suspense, and I know I'm kind of famous for liking fairy tales and myths and legends.
Sure.
Or Quest. But I also always liked, I like mysteries of any sort. And I like researching things and I like figuring things out. And when I was a girl, I would read all the Nancy Drew books, and which many of us did. I don't even know. Is Nancy Drew still a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, she had a movie not that long ago, actually.
Might be out there still.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's still keeping her up to date, or I don't know. But I always liked that, and always thought I could be a detective, or a sleuth, one of these sleuths that can go and solve, and and I watch true crime and that kind of. So I'm kind of into that and that kind of thing. And so I thought that there weren't really very many female protagonists in computer games. Still isn't as much, but I mean it's much better. But I just thought it was time, and I kind of following this sort of the Nancy Drew kind of in a book sort of way, but also Agatha Christie. Some of those type of books, and I just decided to see if I could design a game that was that kind of game where there's going to be murder, but I also wanted it to be a period piece to kind of go along with the Agatha Christie idea, I guess you would say.
Sure.
Because I like history a lot too, and period pieces, and so that was what I was thinking.
Was that kind of the inspiration when you were doing Dagger of Amun-Ra? Because it definitely felt very period piece. It felt really authentic to that murder mystery and that sort of history.
Well, I can't take complete credit for Dagger of Amun-Ra. The designer of that was Bruce Balfour, but I did oversee him.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to think if I think he did work on a computer game, and I always say computer game instead of video game, because back then, really all games were on computers. There were some obviously video game machines, but we were mostly programming and developing for Apple, and then later IBM PCs. And the like, and Mac and that kind of thing. So that's why when it might sound very old fashioned to you that I'm always saying computer game, but that's the way it is.
No, not at all. That's what I grew up playing as well. Is your computer graphic adventures were on PC. The consoles just didn't have the power to deliver that type of in-depth experience, and if you wanted a really in-depth story, it really was only available on a PC.
That's right. So, but Bruce Balfour, I think he did do, and I didn't know you were going to be talking about Colonel's Bequest, or I would have made sure I knew the answer to this. But I think he did some game for us that did very well. I wish I could say what it was, and I'm sorry, Bruce, if you hear this. But he did a good job, and whereas I did want to do the second Laura Bow, and I really I loved the idea of the museum and with all the Egyptian um, archaeological, exhibits and that kind of thing. I really like that idea, and it went really well with the time period because with Colonel's Bequest, that's set like something like 1927 or 28, something like that, where I wanted to kind of still keep it in the flapper era.
Yeah.
So, and then I think that the Dagger of Amun Ra, she was just a college student then with the Colonel's Bequest, and
Yep.
working. She was going to college at I think it was Tulane University of New
Yep.
Orleans, and but by the Dagger of Amun Ra, she's grown up now, and she's got a job, and I think she was a I don't I she was
She was
doing
a news reporter.
yeah, she's news reporter, right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And that would fit her very much. So yeah, so I just oversaw Bruce and got him started on how I went about designing these games. And in fact, I mentored quite a few of Sierra's adventure game designers because I was kind of the one that knew how to do it. I was the first one to
Yeah.
do it. I sort of figured out my own career, and because nobody had ever done that before, other than maybe Will Crowther and Don Woods with the original adventure, but I didn't have anybody, so I sort of figured out myself how I wanted to do it. Started with Mystery House, and then The Wizard and the Princess, and went on and on and on. And so I kind of became the one to mentor others that Ken and I thought were very creative. They had good ideas, or they were authors of some books like Jane Jensen
Yeah.
and
Who did Gabriel Knight?
Lorelei Shannon. They were already authors of books, so they knew how to write. Obviously, they were very talented. So I did that. I did that with Bruce Balfour, and I worked with him on that. Sort of checked in every now and then, and played the game at the end to make sure it all's working good. But he was a designer, and I have to give him credit for that one.